one thing about our game, I remember it was so much trash talk. Like, Brad and Austin always had this kind of. So, Brad was on the East, Austin was on the West, and Gilchrist, he was like Mike Gilly, he was like always number one. And then here comes AD. He just took over number one spot after a couple tournaments. So he had that kind of, I'm number one. So
Yeah.
me and T, like we always went at it. Like I remember losing to Moot when I was 9, and like 9, he played with Indy Hoyas. They ended up winning the national championship. Then we played each other the next year, and we beat them in the Final Four. So me and him always had this like, what I'm saying, this is competitive. I love him like a brother, but when you're on the court,
You gotta
you know,
kill him.
we always want to compete. So it was extremely competitive, and it was fun, man. It was sold out, proud, man, and we had some household names um, come watch us play, man, and it was great. We ended up winning. And nah, it was fun. It was a great experience for sure.
They still had the same like kind of schedule. Like when you get there, you got to meet with people and
Yeah.
everything. Who came to? Did someone come to speak to you guys like in private?
Um,
They usually have
and
like some speaker.
not that I remember, but I remember our schedule was just so packed. Like we was
Yeah.
doing stuff all day, like foundation stuff, going to the hospital, actually going to like the main McDonald's and just being with the fans. And we had practice, and then we would have a banquet. Like we had just a lot of stuff. But it was fun, man. Like you said, like you know, you develop these bonds with these players, man. It's like your extended family. And obviously, we're all coming from where we come from. We're the man on our AU teams. We're the man on our high school team. So it's fun to just, man, how you deal with this, man? How you dealing with college? How you picking your college and blah blah blah. So all 24 of us could relate to each other. And no, that was an unbelievable experience, man. Like I never took pictures and stuff growing up, but like that's the first event. I'm like, man, I'm gonna take some pictures. Like I'm gonna really, try to remember this moment, man. And my mom came, my uncle came, my godfather came. So now it was an experience that I still, I'm thankful, that I was a part of that for sure.
Got to compete in that. And then from your McDonald's, great year at Oak Hill, you went to Duke. You chose Duke over USC. Smart choice. Smart ass choice. Smart choice. Smart choice. So
Yeah.
you chose Duke over like UNC. I forgot what other schools you were considering at that time, but I just remember the UNC one vividly.
Played, Duke, Carolina, UCLA, Georgetown,
Yes.
and Kansas, and
Oh,
UConn.
you.
So it's really like it was like really six, but really, really, really UConn, UCLA, and it was really like the three that I really like. That's what it came down to.
What sold you on Duke? Like on going to Duke?
My brother Nolan, he was there, so
Okay.
he was there for 4 years. He had just won a championship in 2010.
Mhm.
So but like anytime like I had any kind of break in school, I was going straight to Duke. Like I was going down to Duke, like, and I was living with Nolan, like just watching them practice, watching them work out.
Mhm.
In the summertime, I'd be down there for an extended time. So I had relationships with Gerald Henderson, John Shire, Kyle Singler, like all these guys. And then obviously the coaches who was there, they always, allowed me just to. And then like when I kind of start coming into my own, getting recruited and stuff, like Duke, then Coach K offered me my sophomore year.
Mhm.
Um, no, actually my freshman year. That's that summer before I got hurt. And I just had this rapport with them the entire time. And obviously, like, I entertained other schools. Like I wanted to have that whole process of being recruited, going to this visit, that visit, having, all the college coaches come and watch me play and stuff like that, which was cool. But Duke was always like number one in the back of my mind. And I just had that connection with Coach K, man. And he always never promised me, during that time, even now, what am I talking about? Even now, coaches is going to tell you what you want to hear.
Oh
And
yeah. Yeah.
minutes, you're going to go to the da 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 da. Like just giving me all these promises, man. And coach was just like, man, my only promise is that I'm going to coach you as hard as I can for 4 years. And I'm going to be your coach on and off the floor. And I lost my dad, so he like stepped in a role like where when there was holidays or special days, like he always like would when like obviously there were restrictions with recruiting and stuff like communication and stuff. It's not like it is now, but anytime like they could communicate like handwritten letter, a call like on a special day, stuff like that, and that's what really stuck with me. And like I graduated. I committed in 2010, and I graduated in 2015, and it's 2024. And there hasn't been a Father's Day Coach K has missed. There hasn't been a Christmas. There hasn't been the anniversary of my dad's passing. There hasn't been a year that Coach K's missed that going to the day. And I just turned 30. So I mean, like
Mm,
he stuck on his promise about just being there and being just, you know, a father figure and a role model for me more than a coach. So like you said, it's I'm so happy I decided to go to Duke for sure. I know from a cultural standpoint, you know, I know what I, you know, how I helped Duke and how I still help them to this day. So
yeah,
um, they helped me way, way, way more than I helped them. But I
right,
know my legacy there is forever, you know, appreciated just because obviously we winning the Natty. We were Coach
right,
K's last Natty, but like, you know, we kind of made that transition from one and dones. So
mm,
like it's hard to win with freshmen just because you know other teams are so experienced, but those guys we have to do John, Tyus, um, Grayson, and Justice, man, they just were so humble, so you know, giving, so willing to work, and we had some hungry upperclassmen coming back, so it meshed
nice.
together. And the coach had us prepared like no other, man. And you know, I'm so happy we won it, man. It was a great, great, great feeling.
What's like a day to day at Duke though? Like I've always been curious, you know, like how is that with Coach K?
It's tough, man. It's you know you got your morning stuff you got to do if you got to lift or you got a guy are you a guy who gets extra shots up you got to
Mhm,
get it in the morning you might got an 8:30 class or you know we usually practice later in the day like you know 2:30 3 o'clock just around because you know people's schedules are different but you know I was always in the gym early I go to class or I go to study hall do whatever and if we had practice at 3, I'm in the facility at 2. Nah, I'm in the facility at 1:30. I always try to make my schedule to where I can get in there early, get treatment, you know, to be a professional.
mhm,
So if we had like we had rules like if we had practice at 3, nobody should be walking in the gym no later than 2:40. Like I know schedules gonna permit itself sometimes, but you know, let's be on time. Let's get a good sweat. Let's get a good lather. So when we get to practice, we don't gotta, you know, Coach K was real big on that. And he left it up to, you know, the upperclassmen and the guys playing to set that standard. So like when you're a freshman, you know, I was listening to Seth Curry. I was listening to, you know, the Plum Mason and Miles. I was listening to Josh Harrison and Tyler Thornton. So Brian Kelly. So, you know, when it was my turn to be that, you know, upperclassman, like that was the standard, and it was player enforced. So um, it was fun, man. Practice was always intense, but like we weren't in there like 2 3 hours. Like we were in there an hour 15. We're gonna watch a good amount of film. We in there an hour 15. Sometimes be in there 45, just depending on our schedule. But like Coach gonna get after it. Like we're gonna get after it. If we ain't been playing well, he gonna cuss us out. We gonna
yeah.
like the Quinn team member, but we playing well, he's gonna be our biggest fan. So it was great give and take. And I think we all kind of just, you know, different teams I was on, like we always had the talent, but sometimes we never could always put it together, you know, from a full season standpoint. Because I was on 2 teams that lost in the first round. Like, and if you like Jabari Parker, like he's the best player in college. Like he has no business losing the first round. Rodney Hood was on that team too, but that season we could just never figure it out. And we ran into a tough Mercer team. My freshman year, we lost to Lehigh, obviously CJ McCollum. That's why March Madness is so fun. You just one and done, and anybody can be beaten. So that's why when teams figure it out, get to the Final Four, have a nice run, win a championship, you got to understand like it's the first to six. So nah, man, it's good to be you know a part of history. You know, a couple of those new teams for sure.